it's a pretty rewarding experience, right? So we have supported over 400 kids in Western North Carolina on their two-wheeled journey, whether on a balance bike, pedal bike, or mountain bike. At KidCycle Club, we use the bicycle as a vehicle to power confidence and connection in kids. Kids spend a lot of time inside. They go to school, they're inside. They go to after school, they're inside. They might come home and play video games until mom and dad are done working. KidCycle Club offers a fun, social way to get outside and move. We base this on our priorities: safety first, make it fun, and learning will happen. As a parent, I took my daughter to the little gym and swim lessons and kinder music class and ski school, and I could see the benefit that an experienced professional educator brought to the table, and one of those things was just the fact that they were not her parent. Some of this was part of the inspiration for KidCycle Club. We teach your kid how to ride a bike so you can enjoy riding a bike with your kid. We've crafted a proven progressive coaching method that matches terrain and activities with ages and skill levels to instill confidence at every stage and allow the kids to move up when they're ready. Our families give us 5 stars. We offer coaching to kids aged 12 months old up to 12 years old, and through a variety of offerings. This spring, we're launching Biking Fun for the entire family through our guided family tours. We have bikes for the tiniest tot in the family, all the way up to parents and grandparents. And in the fall, we became a reseller of Pre-Velo kids bikes. They are specifically engineered for kids. We're super excited about this right now. We believe that every child is unique and that is worth celebrating. We provide a space for kids to connect with themselves, nature, and friends and family. This allows them to build community through the bonds that they form while riding together. Building an inclusive biking community is part of our core values, and as a for-profit business, we are seeking a foundation and a nonprofit fund administrator to contract with us to be the service provider for specialized biking instruction with community-based programs. This will allow us to provide a better access to biking for all. So who is a KidCycle Club family? They live in this area and they have 1 to 3 riders in the household, potential riders in the household, and they are interested in getting outside with their kids, but they are a little bit intimidated by it. We have 2 main groups of customers: families with kids and community-based organizations. We connect directly with our families through these channels to acquire new customers, and then we work with the community-based organizations to develop programs that meet their needs. As we move into tours, we will need to learn a whole new set of marketing strategies and reach a broader geographic area. So this is how I envision KidCycle Club being. Low overhead, scalable, auto-renewing memberships. It all sounded really great in concept. In reality, it has been very challenging to achieve these things. We need vehicles and storage and someone to run our programs. And we need, it's hard to retain coaches when they're only employed part-time or seasonally. And creating a monthly auto-renewing membership program would be ideal, except that the winter weather here is very unpredictable and not great for biking with kids. So 2 of our main obstacles right now are not having a location for programming in inclement weather, and also not having quite enough transportation vehicles for after-school programming. Despite these challenges, we have made some good traction over the past couple of years. We've increased our number of riders. We've increased how much they spend with us on average per year. And we have increased the number of summer camp coaches that we'll need to run our summer camps. Some highlights from last year: we hired and trained our first round of coaches. So that was sort of new. And we found a storefront and storage facility, and we became a bike and helmet dealer. This is our team. My background is in children's product, particularly sales and marketing. And Jed Hinckley is our Director of Programming and Operations. He makes sure everything runs smoothly and has a background in youth sports development. And we have a bunch of amazing coaches. They, for the most part, are certified in some way as a professional mountain bike instructor or a lead cycling instructor or a high school, middle school mountain bike coach. So here's my community ask. Please help us spread the word. If you know anyone who needs our programs, please tell them about what we do. If you know someone who's visiting for the summer and needs something fun to do with their family, tell them about our guided tours. Connect us up with any community partners or funding partners that you know of. Help us learn about this new tourism market that I know nothing about. And if you know anyone who needs a job for the summer, please send them our way. Thanks so much for your time, and
Thank you, Amy. Thank you very much. Who's got any questions about this? Including wanting to learn how to do bicycle tricks, I think you a quick solo.
I think you're really onto something. It's awesome, service to be able to be offered here. I think I don't have kids, but if I did, I want them out there doing that kind of thing. So, one thing that I was thinking of is the disparity in health, in the community, and there's a lot of interest in helping close different gaps. And I was wondering if you had heard about the Dogwood Alliance and, maybe working with, just offering, services for, comp prices or what are you doing to work with specific groups in the community?
Sure, so we work with Asheville Parks and Rec, and they have 8 different after-school programs throughout the city. And so we provide programming to them in a trade with them, and they provide facilities for us to use over the summer. So we do after-school programming for kids that wouldn't otherwise be able to get transportation to a trailhead for mountain bike practice or something.
Are you capturing that data for specific?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I mean we're capturing how many riders there are in those programs.
Right. Okay.
And it's amazing, to go and work with these kids who wouldn't otherwise have access to really nice bikes. And so we bring the bikes to them, we bring a course to them and set it up. We bring them either learn to ride a bike instruction, or now we're doing beginner mountain biking skills instruction, and they absolutely love it. And I would love to get them on a path to having their own middle school and high school mountain bike team.
Did you get Oscar Blues to support you?
There's a challenge with beer.
Oh.
I get it, I get it, and I just mentally can't cross that gap. I agree. They've got a lot of money to give, so it's maybe.
Baby's first beer.
But you also offer like helmets?
Yes,
Do you
we have
have
helmets to
Do you have
rent.
an actual store or?
We do, I mean, it's very small,
Okay.
but mostly what we use it for is when kids come to classes at our location, we do the class in the parking lot, and we have a little bit of everything, and so, you know, they can try something on and buy it right then and there, and then we'll just replenish it on the back end. We don't have huge displays of retail area storefront.
The Jewish Community Center has a nice field behind its pool. I don't know if you're aware of that field.
Oh, cool, okay.
Or it's a nice yard, or that would be another avenue.
Okay, great, thanks.
As someone with very poor biking skills, I wish that it had been around when I was young, but I think you have a real angle here in terms of sustainability. Because who knows what the world is going to look like 20 years from now with roads and cars, and training young people to have strong cycling skills could really be a game changer as we're looking at how to address climate change. But I wonder, of your projections, given what you plan to invest in infrastructure, when will you reach steady state in terms of rides per year or riders per year? Like what percentage of the market do you have to get in Asheville to have a business that you consider profitable and sustainable and lasting?
That's a great question. Currently, we are not profitable, and so, you know, we definitely need to get more riders in our existing classes and camps in order to make them break even and then profitable. The figures that I have researched about the potential riders in the area, basically I came up with about 80,000 potential riders in a 50-mile radius of Asheville. And so if we were to capture 5% of those at our current average spend of $250 per rider per year, that would be $1 million a year. And I think that at our current state, that would be great.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. Speaking for me personally, this would be sort of a one on another angle potential for your business is if you could vet children in need for bikes, and then I would personally be, interested in giving a bike or buying a bike for somebody. So that might be an avenue for you to, to get bikes in kids' hands that are in need, and also it might build resonance with your mission in the public eye.
That'd be great. Some of the challenges we faced in that community are like secure storage. Finding a good place that it can stay out of the rain and locked up so that it doesn't get taken. And not making them like an attraction for theft. You know what I mean? So, but yes, that would be totally appreciated.
So in that vein, maybe like sponsor a bike,
Right.
Something, you can do something like that.
Or sponsor
So-
membership.
My thought process is, I'm a nutritionist, and I've worked with children for years and years and years. So just another access point would be potentially if you would work with pediatricians, because the childhood obesity crisis is like epic proportions. Maybe no pun intended, but because particularly in this area, right, we know that children are magnetized to their, computer gaming stuff, but we want to get them out and we want to get them moving, right? So if you bring your child, you, the generic you, to the physician, and the physician's like, you need to get out a little bit more, which is a nicer way of saying that they need to do a little work on themselves, they can say, hey, have you heard about the KidCycle Club? Maybe you want to look into this, because it's not let's go to the gym, it's not join the track team, and then it sort of like gets them involved a little bit more in their community, and they can meet other people. So you can hit up pediatricians, you can hit up nutritionists, even like schools, school nurses, they have all that information there. Daycare centers, that's all a function, funding for daycare centers, they need to keep all that information there. So it might just be another avenue for you to market to.
That's a great suggestion, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. Have you thought about, so I understand that some families can't afford or have capital to have their kids kind of learn how to bike or they want to bike. Have you thought about doing adult classes that subsidize, like 'cause adults have more money than kids, and so the thinking there is like, I've heard hundreds of adults saying, oh gosh, I wish I learned how to ride a bike when I was a kid. I'm sure you heard, I wish you were around when I was a kid. Have you thought about doing adult classes that then you can charge a bit more and the structure is you learn and you pay for a kid to learn as well or anything like that?
We've tried to stay focused in a certain age range
Sure.
for our training purposes and focus, but I see, there would be, I see the kind of martial arts model where they have something for everyone in the family, and then there's just this like continuous steady state of customers coming through, moving up, mentoring. We are seeing it some with like our high school assistant coaches. They're then coming back and becoming full coaches. And so, that's pretty cool to see that sort of leadership process happen.
I also see the value you're saying is KidCycle Club, it's in the name for kids. So thanks for the
Hi. I hear that you're addressing the cost with the questions in the audience, although I haven't heard how much it costs. But I'd like to know also about the time. Like, as a busy parent during the summer, I would need a summer camp, right, to drop my kids off all day. So do you visit an all-day thing? And if not, could you connect up with other summer camps and be part of their programs? Just so like there's 2 hours out of the summer camp is biking, and you're attaching on to somebody else's summer camp. Because I can't do just drop them off and come back 2 hours later in the middle of work, right?
So summertime, we have 9 weeks of summer camp, and that's 9 to 3. And then for 5 weeks this year, we're offering extended care, so 8:30 to 5. So they're not biking the whole time.
How much does that
It's
cost?
$395
For a week?
Yeah.
That's pricey.
It's right in line with all the other camps in town.
Awesome concept, thank you for your presentation. First question is, have you contacted any service organizations, I'm thinking of Rotary in particular, who do raise money and donate stuff like this? My father was a Rotarian, and they used to do that, and I know that there's a couple of Rotaries in Asheville. I don't know if they do something like that. My second question is, sort of backing up on what he said about adults. Maybe the parents of some of these children want to be able to ride their bike to work, and riding bikes in traffic as a driver is terrifying to me to see them, because they don't know how to signal, they don't all wear helmets. It's just kind of scary as an automobile driver. If there's anything for maybe some of the parents to learn how to navigate traffic.
Yeah, there's definitely classes for middle schoolers and up to learn traffic signals and everything. With our core age, I'm not gonna put other people's children in the road with, drivers. But yeah, I would, we could host like a family biking, signaling type of commuting skills type.
I've got a question about winter. So as you said, conditions are not ideal for this. So are you looking at still trying to continue during the winter, or just shut down for the winter, or do other kinds of activities in the winter? Like, What's your strategy about that season?
So if we had a giant metal warehouse building, with big garage doors that could open and close, that would be sort of the ideal scenario with some land around it where you could build trails and like build a pump track and build a skills park and stuff like that. Because then you could have an indoor riding area in those months when it's just cold and wet and not really fun to be outside. You could still be inside and moving, and we could just continue that programming. You know, my daughter's gymnastics class, she signs up for a 10-week session, and then 2 weeks before the end of that session, you get an email as a parent that says, if you want to unsubscribe from the next section, you can. You have until this date to do it. Send us an email to drop. But if you don't, we're just going to auto-charge your card, and you'll be signed up for the next 10 weeks. And like, I just keep going.
Thank you for the presentation, and as someone who lived in a deep urban center, I feel like you're doing God's work here by making it safer for cyclists, because the ones that don't learn are terrifying. My question for you is, there is bike stores in every town in Western North Carolina, and do they know about you?
Some of them do, yeah, and some, you know, I've dropped off flyers at a bunch of them, and some of them are really helpful with recommending our services when kids buy a bike. It's a little bit, before we offered really nice kids bikes, we sent customers to these bike shops, but all of the major brands, their kids bikes are really subpar in comparison to the bikes that we have. So now I'm sending fewer and fewer parents to those bike shops. So there's less of that like ecosystem.
The only reason I ask is, it seems like a lot of bike stores are also into the education piece of it. And it seems like it'd be more of just a funnel direction instead of a reciprocity sort of thing.
Right?
I'm glad that you're contacting them because there's so many in this area.
Right, yeah.
So I'm holding the microphone, but that was my question. But I will actually add on to that. So my husband's actually worked for REI for 20-something years, and I'm assuming that you've talked to the REI here. If not, I'm happy to put you in touch with them, because knowing their mission, I think they would be all about trying to advertise this and maybe putting together some sort of a partnership where it's win-win for you and the shop, or, you know, I feel like there's a good avenue there for you to explore.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
Hi, are you also marketing to vacationers?
Yes, so that's our new product that we're offering, is guided family tours. And one, I need to do some more of them to really get a sense of what is needed. We're gonna do greenway tours and like easy beginner mountain biking tours. You know, part of the challenge is that like if you're visiting this area, the trails here are just quite challenging. Like, you know, we did an open public family fun ride the other day on the Greenway. There was like 12 feet of elevation gain, and you know, everybody's off their bike walking. And and so, you know, I was like, oh, that was a hill. Okay, got it. So, you know, we forget what is easy and what is hard for people that are flatlanders. So, you know, we have to keep it really mellow. And yes, but that's something that we want to do, and I don't know what the marketing channels are. I know that there's like affiliate stuff with hotels and Airbnbs, and it's like a whole new.
There's also, for the locals, there's also places like the Adventure Center of Asheville and probably the two big companies, and they probably all have figured out a little bit how to generate revenue with seasonal passes, or, you know, if you tap into those folks, and there might even be like that whole tourism industry conferences and all that stuff.
Right, like Explore Asheville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, so I know you mentioned you have 2 or 3 different platforms you're using, like online, so social media, web design. Is that your primary way of reaching out to people? Or I guess what I'm trying to ask is, what channels are you actively utilizing? Because we've all said, hey, I need to consider this one, but which ones are you utilizing already?
So we do events. We've done social media advertising, which is very expensive. We are taking flyers around to different schools and dropping them off to insert into backpacks to go home. And now there's like a digital flyer system for schools. And yeah, really the best conversions that I've seen are when people see it in action. So the challenge is if you go to the kids and the parents aren't there, you're sort of missing a window of the parents seeing this thing take place. And another challenge that we've met is that dads want their kids to ride bikes and moms are in charge of scheduling and budgeting. I mean, I'm being totally stereotyping, but you know, it's just like it's a logistical challenge that we have to overcome. So the person that we captivate is the father, and then he's got to convince mom to put it on the summer schedule and find a spot for it. But yeah, those are some of the main. Like we are a sponsor of the Kids Pop-Up Bike Park for all the Asheville and bike events, Spring Out, Summer Cycle, Pumpkin Peddler. And so it's a super fun, really like active event, and people enjoy it, and they want to see it happen again.
Awesome, thank you.
Again, the JCC has a gym that sits very empty. I don't know if that could be an option for some of your winter activities, and they have a daycare and a kids camp, so that might be an opportunity for your morning downtime or winter downtime, especially if they're younger. They do have, infant through pre-K, so they have 2-year-olds through pre-K that could be, you could fill up some of that winter downtime. I don't know if you guys have done that in a lot of, some of the rec centers, the Eddington Reed Center, the Grant Center, they all have big gyms.
Yeah, we've met gyms.
Has that worked?
Gyms people are 50-50 on gyms, like on bikes and tennis shoes being.
Right.
I mean,
Dirt.
bikes are just as dirty as tennis shoes are, but.
Yeah.
Hey, Amy. Great presentation. That was inspiring and really good job. There's a couple things I wanted to say. I would love to help in some way. I don't know if you're open to a veteran mountain biker just volunteering and helping with kids learning to bike, because looks super fun. It just looks
yes.
So and the other thing I would like to throw out there is like joining with the local events going, like the farmers markets and things like that, where people donate helmets and then helmets get out to kids in need. Do something that's just a little off of your charter mission, but could bring in some recognition. So I would be super happy to help with an event like that, where we get a booth and table at an existing market. And advertise it to donate and then distribute.
Sounds great.
Hey, Ron, right. Thank you for the presentation. I do think the tourism market is quite right. So I'm in that market, or think a lot about advertising that market, and a lot of people always ask for things to do, and the one answer I don't have a good one for is like, people ask, what do I do with kids or with a family? And it's partially because I don't have kids, or my market's not for kids, but I see that question a lot. And so I think if you can reach the travelers, the people visiting while they're planning their trip, I think that's can be a really good, and you can try, you can price that at a premium, right, if people are visiting. But the other question is, I get you cap your age at 12, or that's the max kind of?
Well, I mean, I'm a NICA middle school mountain bike coach, and I think that we could really have, go up to at least through 8th grade, because they still need something to do in the summertime. They're not self-sufficient, They might not need a camp for daycare purposes every week, but they still need an activity. And they would just have so much fun. They would have a real week of riding.
I was almost wondering if 12-year-olds graduate, or whatever you might call it, they could become assistant teachers, for lack of a better word, or coaches, and get them involved that way. And then, I don't know the child labor laws or what that might look like.
So we have one this summer who will be a coach in training. She's 13. We can't pay her. You have to be 14 to get a work authorization.
Still counts on a resume.
Yeah, right. And she's super excited to be a coach in training. And we're excited to have free labor. Volunteer.
This is being recorded. Thank you.
Hi, Aaron. I have a question for you regarding special events, and I envisioned a horde of little kids riding before the whistle blows for a century or some kind of event, just, where the kids just sort of like taking off for a couple hundred feet before the actual ride. Have you partnered up to expand some of your clientele?
I think that having a race series would be great. I think the kids would love it, and it could be super simple, like you're saying, 100 yards or just some sort of little obstacle course. I've seen Strider races. It is about the cutest thing you ever saw. That's great.
Thank you.
Actually, over here, sorry. I know this is taking advantage of having a microphone, but an observation and also a question. First is something Ryan said, which is kind of like getting at families during the trip planning stage for those coming in out of town. I'm wondering if talking to hotels or setting up a program where, hey, we book a stay at a hotel, and then one day our kids are going to go ride bikes and have fun in Nashville. I know my parents did something similar when we went skiing. Dumping off at the ski tours, but and then the second thing is you kind of talked about the winter months as being a hurdle to there's friction there with the monthly recurring revenue, the annual recurring revenue, and you have a big plan for your own space. But in the intermediate, what's the space that you're looking for that's good enough and maybe reasonable to achieve this coming winter?
I mean, I think that utilizing some of these underutilized indoor spaces would be great. It's just going to take research and planning and getting in touch with people who are okay with bikes inside their gym.
Have you talked to the Riveter at all? I know they have a pump track and some outdoor stuff.
I have talked to their programming person, and they are really on their own path of summer camps and after-school programs.
Gotcha.
And as well, and Colos is sort of the same.
Are you familiar with Burke Park?
Yeah, that's actually where we run 4 weeks of our camps.
Oh, great. So this is kind of a controversial topic, but the mill in Canton is closing.
Right.
So Canton is a town, which I used to have a house in, is kind of looking for things. Just looking for what is this town after the mill closes. There's a lot of land over there on Chestnut Mountain. And I would wonder if the town would be interested in subsidizing some of that land.
Well, it's much more attractive now that the mill is closing.
Yeah. It's true.
Because, I mean, having spent 4 weeks of the summer over there last year, it's like, okay, brace yourself. You gotta go into this haze.
Yeah, but I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities in that town, and a lot of creative
yeah, that's fair.
government solutions.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have a great relationship with the town manager, so.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I have another suggestion also, and I don't have kids, so I don't know exactly how it works, but what I do know is that kids get bored. So I know that they're doing a camp a week, say, over the summer, but I don't know if each camp program works with each other. So maybe you can work with the other organizations who offer summer camps, so that the parents can see what else is out there. Because I suspect you can't drop your kid off at the same camp for 3 weeks in a row without them giving you a hard time. So if it's sort of like back and forth or something like that, because I imagine that there are a lot of options, relatively speaking, here. So maybe you can work in conjunction with them and just cross-promote, you know. My friends own Zaniac in Biltmore Park, and so the kids are sitting there in front of computers, which is awesome, and they're learning all this great stuff, but so 1 week they're sitting, and the next week they're cycling, and then maybe you can work in tandem with them, and maybe that one might be intended as well.
I'm all for collaborating.
I want to build on what Hillary said, and also that idea about the JCC and the idea about the free thinker, the graduating onto the program. That would, for me, recognize an opportunity, and also something that John said. That youth is my passion in educating the preteen youth, specifically the use of dark psychology. That's my passion. Just educating kids and what they're hearing, and there's two sides to the story, and one word can have two meanings, this kind of thing. But in any case, that age group would be ideal to connect into programs that have nothing to do with you, but something else would manage, and that you can end up with volunteers. So, which, again, I don't know, but I would assume would be faith-based organizations, that you could have a diversity of them even, that would manage that transition. You know, you're saying, I've got these kids, they want to transition out of, you know, they're not in my program, but yet they want to become, and that's a whole space that you could get some community interaction going and share it. You know, they're using these, not using, they're helping these kids evolve, and they need something to do, which benefits you as well.
Great, thank you.
Like 1 or 2 more questions.
Okay, I'll take one of them. And you commented earlier you're looking for a nonprofit manager and raising money, so I'd love to hear more about that, because democratization of access to cycling and cycling skills should be important to our community. And one suggestion, partnering with the YMCA of Western North Carolina. Would love to help you if there's anything you need with that.
Cool, yeah, great. I mean, I think that accessing the Dogwood Fund would be amazing. I think that they are trying to promote equity in health, and yeah, that's what we're all about.
I was gonna ask unless I'm sorry.
You got one back here.
I love what you're doing. Kids need this, so I'm so glad that you're doing this. For fathers, even to fathers, Father's Day is coming up. Gift cards for Father's Day for this, I think, could be the right kind of marketing thing here. And also, on tours, when do they start? And when are you doing your first ghost tour?
Yeah, I would love to do a couple of just like practice tours, honestly, because I need to know more about how to set it up and lead a tour with a flatlander. You're like an experienced cyclist, so that's not quite the right market.
I was just wondering if you thought about possibly mitigating the issue of the surfaces and the spaces, maybe having like some kind of like a thing that you bring in to mitigate any kind of issues people might have.
Oh, like in the gyms?
Yeah, bringing in like your own surface, like the
mat.
Yeah, like you go to a basketball game, it's also a hockey ring, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
I like that. I've seen those, like it's like a not canvas, but something you roll out on the floor.
There's companies that do those things.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them on ice.
Snow biking is pretty fun.
Here's your winter solution. Just have the kids just go sliding down into trees during the winter.
Yeah, I mean, weatherized trails are great for grown-ups, but, those little hands, kids, they can't use gloves. It's just mittens.
Well, winter is finally behind us. So, Emmy, thank you very much for bringing us this.